Everyone talks about Taiwan because of semiconductors. Yes, TSMC makes about 90% of the world's most advanced chips. Without Taiwan, your iPhone 27, your AI girlfriend, your Tesla, all at stake. But is that why China wants Taiwan? Thing is, Beijing would want Taiwan even if the island was producing nothing but potato chips. And not because they're hungry. The semiconductors are a bonus. But the real prize is 13,000 square miles of mountainous terrain sitting in the perfect position to either defend East Asia or dominate it. Let me show you why geography makes this island worth more than all the chip fabs combined. Quick history note, Taiwan was never really Chinese in the way Beijing claims. The island was inhabited by Austronesian indigenous peoples for thousands of years. The Dutch colonized parts of it in the 1600s. The Qing dynasty controlled it from 1683 to 1895, but then ceded it to Japan after losing a war. Japan ruled Taiwan for 50 years until 1945. When Mao won the Chinese Civil War in 1949, Chiang Kai-shek's nationalist forces fled to Taiwan and set up shop. The People's Republic of China has never controlled Taiwan, not for one day. The entire reunification narrative is based on a Qing dynasty claim from over a century ago. It's like Italy demanding France hand over Gaul, because Rome once controlled it. So, why does Beijing want it so badly? Taiwan sits dead center in what strategists call the first island chain, running from Japan through Taiwan to the Philippines. This chain currently acts as a defensive barrier, keeping China's military contained to its own coastline. Taiwan is the keystone of that entire chain. The island has 5 mountain ranges with 258 peaks over 3,000 meters. Mount Yushin reaches 3,952 meters, taller than Mount Fuji, higher than anything in Japan, Korea, the Philippines, or neighboring Fujian province in China. These mountains effectively function as a massive natural radar shield. Modern warfare depends on radar. Your F-35s, your E-2D Hawkeye early warning aircraft, your missile defense radars. But radar waves are just electromagnetic radiation, and mountains block them completely. Whoever controls those peaks can conceal air defense systems, mobile launchers, and command facilities while maintaining perfect visibility over everything below. They see you, you don't see them. That's the ultimate military advantage. From Taiwan's high ground, you can monitor and control air and sea traffic across the first island chain. You can track every aircraft taking off from mainland China. You can direct fighters and surface-to-air missiles with complete situational awareness. The subsurface geography is equally critical. Taiwan's east coast drops 4,000 meters straight down into the Philippine Sea, deeper than the Titanic's resting place. The Taiwan Strait on the west, a shallow 70 meters maximum depth. Submarines are likely the dominant naval weapon of the future. In 4,000 meters of water, a Virginia-class attack sub can dive deep, hide in thermoclines, and operate virtually undetected. In 70 meters, it's a sitting duck for anti-submarine helicopters and P-8 Poseidon patrol aircraft. The narrow passages north and south of Taiwan are ideal for deploying acoustic sensor networks. Modern SOSUS-type arrays can detect submarines transiting these choke points, solving one of the hardest problems in naval warfare, finding enemy subs. Control Taiwan, and you control who moves through these waters. This matters because China's strategic deterrent relies heavily on its ballistic missile submarines. If they can't get to deep water without being tracked, their entire second strike capability is compromised. From Beijing's view, Taiwan isn't just about national pride or historical claims. It's about breaking free from geographic containment. Right now, China's entire coast is boxed in by the first island chain. Every warship leaving port can be monitored. Every submarine can be tracked. The People's Liberation Army Navy operates in what is essentially a fishbowl under constant surveillance by U.S. and allied forces. Take Taiwan, and that fishbowl shatters. The PLA could station Type 055 destroyers, J-20 stealth fighters, and H-6K bombers on the island. they'd have direct access to the Philippine Sea and the broader Pacific. The defensive chain becomes a Chinese springboard. More importantly, Beijing could then credibly threaten the second island chain, which includes Guam, the Northern Mariana Islands, and other critical U.S. territories. Guam hosts Andersen Air Force Base, a major hub for B-52 bombers, B-2 stealth bombers, and attack submarines. It's about 1,700 miles from Taiwan, well within range of DF-26 anti-ship ballistic missiles that could now be positioned on Taiwanese soil. The strategic implications cascade rapidly. Okinawa, home to 30,000 U.S. troops and critical Marine Corps air stations, sits just 400 miles from Taiwan. The northern Philippines is even closer. Both become nearly impossible to defend if hostile forces operate from Taiwan. Japan's southwest island chain, which currently provides defense in depth, would be flanked and vulnerable, and the Philippines' northern provinces would face direct military pressure. South Korea would see its sea lanes threatened. This isn't theoretical. Beijing has explicitly stated its goal of becoming the dominant power in Asia by 2049. Taiwan is the cork in the bottle. Pull it out, and Chinese military power floods into the Pacific. Control of Taiwan brings economic leverage that extends far beyond semiconductors. 6 of China's largest ports, including Shanghai, the world's busiest container port, sit along a coastline that Taiwan's military position currently monitors. But flip the equation. From Taiwan, Beijing could observe and potentially interdict maritime traffic serving those same ports. Japan imports 94% of its energy. It's the world's largest importer of coal and LNG, second largest for oil. South Korea imports 82% of its energy. Both nations depend entirely on sea lanes that pass through or near Taiwan's surrounding waters. About $5.3 trillion in goods transit the South China Sea annually, much of it moving along routes Taiwan overlooks. With the island under Beijing's control, China could realistically threaten to restrict or tax energy shipments to Japan and South Korea, 2 of America's most important allies and the world's 3rd and 10th largest economies. That's leverage that makes OPEC look quaint. So, how do you defend an island? The attacker faces a brutal equation. Amphibious assaults require at least a 3-to-1 numerical advantage to succeed, and that's under ideal conditions. The PLA would need to transport hundreds of thousands of troops across 100 miles of ocean to a handful of suitable landing beaches, all while under fire from air, sea, and land-based weapons. Taiwan's terrain, mountainous, urban, heavily vegetated, favors defenders. Add U.S. ground forces to the mix, and the invasion math shifts from extremely risky to borderline suicidal. Russia's failure in Ukraine demonstrates what happens when attackers ignore force ratios. Modern anti-tank missiles, artillery, and drones devastate exposed formations. Taiwan would be that scenario amplified, with the added complexity of an ocean crossing. Stationing credible U.S. ground forces on Taiwan changes Beijing's calculus entirely. It's more cost-effective than relying solely on carrier strike groups and air power racing to respond after an invasion begins. Boots on the ground create a deterrent that's hard to dismiss. Where Beijing achieves local military dominance, coercion follows. We've seen this in the South China Sea, where China built artificial islands and militarized them despite international law. We've seen it in Bhutan, where Beijing has quietly annexed territory. We've seen it in economic policy, where forced labor, predatory lending, and corruption are deployed as diplomatic tools. The pattern is clear. Strength enables aggression. Taiwan, under Chinese control, would embolden further territorial claims against Vietnam, Malaysia, Indonesia, Japan, and the Philippines, all of whom have existing disputes with Beijing. The United States paid in blood and treasure to secure defensive positions across the Pacific during World War II. Guadalcanal, Iwo Jima, Okinawa. Each battle was hell, but they created a perimeter that has guaranteed Asian prosperity and freedom of navigation for nearly 80 years. Taiwan is the linchpin of that entire system. Lose it, and you're not just losing semiconductor production. You're losing the geographic position that keeps shipping lanes open, allies secure, and regional powers in check. Beijing would want this island even if it were covered entirely in pineapple farms. The mountains provide a radar shield and observation platform. The depths enable submarine dominance. The location breaks the first island chain and opens the Pacific to Chinese military expansion. Geography doesn't negotiate. Taiwan's geography makes it the most strategically valuable piece of real estate on Earth. The chips are just the icing on a very dangerous cake.